welcome to lesson 15. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to present as well as a TED Talk. So I took information about how to create a TED Talk, and I'm doing it because this is really all the information I found is a great summary of the things I've told you about that you should be doing to have a great public speaking experience. First of all, I've told you before, people have short attention spans, and so a really great opening and a really great closing are really important. So when you're thinking about your opening, think about what I've mentioned about how we decide where to pause, about telling an anecdote, about making it personal. Because those are kinds of introductions really draw in the audience. Then you can keep them by giving them the information after you've introduced it in a very strong and powerful way. Another thing they said was to make it personal. Give a personal disclosure to relate your message. It doesn't have to be a secret. If you've killed someone, you don't have to tell your audience that you've killed someone. My anecdote was about what my tattoos mean. That's personal to me. It's sharing something from yourself to the people you're talking to. And that's a big connector. Engaging the audience by actually talking to them is another way to connect with your audience. Comment on the weather. Comment on the room itself that you're standing in. If people seem energized and happy, say something about it. Interacting with the audience in general is a great way to show them that you're there for them. Another way to interact with your audience is the rhetorical question, which we talked about, because it makes them think about the answer, even though they're not expected to say it out loud. All right, tell the story your way. We talked about Louis C.K. and his joke telling. Even if you have a favorite stand-up comedian, you don't have to talk like them. Tell your anecdote. Don't try to be somebody else. Just be you. Another tip was, don't think about your information as, I have to get this information out to people. Try to think of your information as, people will love knowing this. That's the difference between my experience as a presenter and thinking about your audience as in, what's going to really captivate them. Another piece of advice. Show what it is, and then show what it could be. So one of the TED Talk tips was, first, show the situation as it is today. Today we can only do this, but the possibilities are endless, right? They're infinite possibilities. So set up your presentation with, this is the way we see things now, but we could see them in this way, right? So today and the future. Building it in a story like that is very positive for your audience. It gets them excited about the information. Again, another tip was use your voice. Monotone is boring. If you are excited, your voice should be going up and down. You should be using your volume. You may have noticed when I get excited, I start to talk a little bit louder and a little bit faster. Pace and pauses. So we talked about using hand gestures and eye contact and smiling. All of those are a way of pacing yourself, making sure you're not speaking too quickly. Pausing. We talk about pausing in general as a tool. If you have important information, just stop talking. Just give your important information and then stop talking again. That break really indicates to people, this is the important part, this is the part I should be paying attention to. Talked about using visuals. Another TED Talk tip was parallels between you and the audience. So when you're talking about anecdotes, you don't want to talk about the part where your life is perfect, because most people's lives aren't perfect and that's not relatable. What is relatable, though, is struggle. Everybody struggles. Maybe not the same struggle. Everybody has problems. Everybody's looking for ways to improve their situation. So stories about self-improving, about the journey, about the path towards success, those are really positive and enlightening things. And structure your story so that it's a journey, the path is difficult, the success is big and rewarding, and people will follow that story. That's a great story. Body language. We talked about body language. We talked about how to use it, when to use it, what kind of body language. So you can go back and watch that lesson if you need. They talked about breaking the ice. Breaking the ice is not something we talked about, but I think it's important. One of the ways to break the ice is to talk to your audience. Other icebreakers can be a joke, can be an anecdote. Those are all ways of kind of saying, we're not in the meat of the information, but a preparation, an introduction is an icebreaker. When you're meeting people for the first time, a good icebreaker are questions like, oh, hi, how are you? What do you do? Oh, that sounds interesting. Why don't you tell me more about that? Those kinds of questions are all there to make the other person feel more comfortable. I've got one more tip for how to make a great TED Talks, and that is the structure of what people do, how they do it, and why they do it. A lot of TED Talks are structured that way, where they tell you what people are doing, they explain to you how they do it, and then they explain to you why they do it. You can use that structure if there's a problem. You can use that structure even if it's a success. In the comment section below, I'm going to give you, obviously, a lot of TED Talks about how to give the best presentations. So set some time after this lesson. If you've gotten into the rhythm of watching one video every few days, then keep going by watching a TED Talk every few days from this list about public speaking, okay? The homework will review any parts we may not have talked about, such as icebreakers. At this point, if you haven't made a video at all throughout the seminar, please, 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 this is the moment to do so. You could go back, you can find any of the suggestions. The homework has some suggestions for videos. Tell an anecdote, tell a story, do a presentation practice, do a pausing practice, tell a story about some strange food you ate, a great movie you saw, a great book you read. Practice the pausing, practice the gestures. Record yourself, post it. You could just email it to me, email me a link. In general, I hope that after watching this, you sign up for the TED Talks and you go give a TED Talk. That would be amazing if you went from an absolute, I don't know how to do presentations, you followed the course, you did all the practice runs, you've recorded yourself several times telling several stories, and then you take whatever you're really good at and you do a TED Talk. If you do that, please let me know. That would be an amazing, amazing success story. If you know somebody who could use presentation prep work, presentation practice, please send them a link to my seminar so that they can use it. All I ask is that you tell somebody, right? All right, guys, this has been a wonderful experience for me. It's been a lot of work, but I think it's worth it, and I hope that I've encouraged you enough so that you also do the work. Remember to try, make mistakes, and keep going. All right, good luck, guys. Have a great, great presentation, public speaking event, and a little tearful about saying goodbye.